Okay, so this video is meant to be a review for people who've already learned how to factor quadratics, but have kind of forgotten. So let's start with something like this. Let's start with multiplying them, and we're going to see a pattern. X plus 3, x plus 2. If we multiply these out, then x and x makes x squared. And we also have this, 3 and 2 make 6. And those are really easy to do in your head. In fact, we don't need to do arrows for those ones. We can just kind of think that x and x give you the x squared, and 3 and the 2 give you the 6. Now the ones you have to kind of think about are these guys. I call this the inner loopy. The inner loopy is 3x, and the outer loopy is 2x. Now 3x and 2x is going to equal 5x. We add that together. So if you look at this, let's just look at 6. 6, how do you get 6 from 3 and 2? Well, 3 times 2 is 6. How do you get 5 from 3 and 2? Well, 3 plus 2 is 5. Let's work this backwards now. Let's just erase that and erase that, and erase that, and erase that. What we're trying to think of are two numbers, and we know that the two numbers will have to multiply to be 6 and also add up to be 5. So let's just think, what numbers multiply to be 6? 1 and 6, but if I put them in here, the inner loopy will give me 1x, the outer loopy will give me 7x, add that together, it will be 8x. So those don't add up to what I want them to be, so 1 and 7 do not work. Let's keep on going down the list. 2 times 3 also multiplies to be 6, so if I put a 2 and a 3, then the inner loopy is 2x, the outer loopy is 3x, combining the like terms gives me the 5x. So the shortcut in multiplying, well actually let's do this. Let's say you have something like this, x squared plus 8x plus 12. We're looking first at that last number. What are numbers that multiply to be 12? And we just go through the list. I like to just start at 1 and just start working my way up. Now you have your list, you look through the list and you find the numbers that add up to be the middle number. 2 and 6 add up to be the middle number, so now we can write this as parentheses x plus 2, x plus 6. And we've taken what was an addition question, 3 terms being added, into a multiplication question. 2 things are being multiplied. And again, that's the super cool thing about polynomials, is you can take things, a bunch of terms that are being added, and turn them into some terms that are being multiplied, which allows you then to go and solve them. Okay. Let's do one more. You do this one on your own, and let's see if you find the magic numbers. Magic numbers that multiply to be 14, add to be 9. And if you found the magic numbers 2 and 7, you are exactly right. 2 and 7 multiply to be 14, 2 plus 7 add up to be 9, and so that's perfect. Let's go now and deal with some negative numbers. Let's say we have something like this, x squared plus x minus 12. Now, because that's a minus 12, it's exactly the same process, but now because we have a negative, we have twice the number of possibilities. Not only do we have 1 and negative 12, we have negative 1 and positive 12, 2 and negative 6, negative 2 and 6, 3 and negative 4, negative 3 and 4. And looking through that list, I'm trying to find something that is a positive 1. I'm just adding that 1 so we know what coefficient to look for. And this is going to be my combination. So we can rewrite this now as x minus 3, x plus 4. And positive 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Positive 4 and negative 3 added up together is a positive 1. So now you try this one with a negative in it. Let's do x squared minus 9x plus 18. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to think through this. 18 is 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. And looking at these, none of them give me that negative 9. But then I remember that a negative times a negative is a positive. So negative 1 times negative 18 is positive 18. Negative 2 times negative 9 is positive 18. So these also work. So we consider those possibilities, and now I find it negative 3 and negative 6. So x minus 3, x minus 6. And again, a negative 3 and a negative 6, when I multiply them, they turn into a positive 18. But when I consider my inner loopy, outer loopy, then I've got negative 3x, I've got negative 6x, and those give me that negative 9x in the middle. Okay, we're going to step it up a notch. We're going to talk about things that have a greatest common factor. Let's say you have this, 2x squared plus 16x plus 24. Before we start looking at numbers that multiply to be whatever and add to be whatever, we see this big problem. This has a 2, and we haven't encountered that before in this video on our discussion of factoring. So how do you deal with that 2? Well, if you can, we're going to factor it out. And what do I mean when I say factor it out? By factor it out, we're going to look at this. Every number here is divisible by 2. In other words, 2 is a factor of each of these terms. So we have 2, 2, 2. Well, that makes me think then that we can use the distributive property. So we can put a 2 right here, and everything else goes inside. X squared plus 8x plus 12. The distributive property is factoring is the opposite of the distributive property. And because of that, we can use the distributive property to get back to the step above. So if I distributed the 2 across all of those terms, then I just get those 2's, the 2 right there. Okay, so when we factor, we're doing the opposite of the distributive property. We're taking a common factor of everything and putting it on the outside. Let's do another one. 3x squared minus 27x plus 54. Go ahead and give this one a try on your own. And if you factored out a 3, that's exactly right, because 3 is a factor of everything there. And now that we have the 3 taken out of it, we can continue to factor this just like we did before, and this is how you would write your final answer. Now it's completely factored. Okay, let's do another one. What about this one? This one's a little bit different. X cubed minus 9x squared plus 18x. Well, in this one, x cubed is x times x times x. 9x squared means 9 times x times x. 18x means 18 times x. The thing that these all have in common is simply an x. So we're going to factor out an x, and inside the parentheses will be the x squared, the minus 9x, and the 18. And then, of course, let's finish this off just like we did before, x minus 7, x minus 2. Okay, there are a couple special kinds of factorings that you want to be able to do, and I'll save those for a different video.